Welcome to Just Break Up, the podcast about love, heartbreak, and all the relationship advice you don't want to hear. My name is Sierra DeMulder.
And I'm Sam Blackwell. And today we're going to answer a letter from somebody who is wondering about right person, wrong time. But before we begin, we just want to give you our Surgeon General's warning, which is that Sierra and I are not licensed mental health practitioners.
Correct. We are not trained in this. We are not professionals by any means. So please take our advice as you see fit. We are only here to offer our humble musings to hopefully shed some understanding and maybe some laughs about the incredibly rewarding but mostly confusing experience that is love.
All right, let's get right into our letter. So this letter comes from Hopeful Romantic, whose pronouns are she, her, who is writing from Ohio. Hi, Sam and Sierra. I found your podcast when I went through my first breakup, listened to a few episodes, and then fell off my podcast game, aka stopped listening to any of them. I am back again after a different breakup and have found your episodes specifically discussing the dynamics between ex-partners to be very informative and helpful. I know you've talked about exes quite a bit, but I haven't found anything surrounding the idea of right person, wrong time. You're probably rolling your eyes, I know, but I'm seeking out any and all advice or guidance. So for context, I, 24, female, she, her, and my ex-boyfriend, 23, male, he, him, met on dating apps and dated for just over a year. I met him when I wasn't really seeking a relationship, but felt an instant connection. I asked the universe for a sign that I should officially go for it, and the day of our first date, he brought me flowers. It sounds stupid, but I have never received flowers from a guy before, and he did it right away. We moved pretty quickly in the beginning because we knew that we'd be going long distance after he graduated college. Lucky for us, he was placed 2 hours away from my hometown, so distance was basically nothing on us. We saw each other 1 to 2 times a month and talked on the phone 95% of the time at night. My 2 relationships prior to him were not great. Think terrible communication, being in relationships for the wrong reasons, lack of true compatibility, etc. But with my previous partner, there was none of that. We were super intentional about our communication with each other, and arguments that would have blown up before were merely blips on our radar. We often talked about our future and what moving in together would look like, a step that we were planning on taking this summer. About 3 months ago, from the time of writing this, he broke up with me out of the blue. Like, I'm talking no prior hiccups or indications that things were going south. He said he doesn't feel like he knows who he is or what he wants for his future regarding his professional lifestyle, partners, etc., and he wants to figure that out on his own outside of being in a relationship. I have mad respect for this, honestly. What he's feeling and where he's at in personal development is exactly what I experienced prior to my first relationship. We followed that conversation up about a week later because it was so out of the blue and the same information was repeated but in a more clear way. We've decided to stay friends, and it's been pretty difficult, I think, for the both of us. Navigating a friendship when someone has been inside of you is not for the faint of heart. we both have,
Sorry.
We both have things that we want to work on, and I think I've discovered that I have more healing left to do than I initially thought. We also haven't closed the door on a future relationship down the line, but it's not something open to us right now. We talk once a week on the phone and have some pretty vulnerable conversations about our relationship, the breakup, and how we still care for each other in this new phase of our relationship. We decided the idea of no contact wouldn't be beneficial to us. I'm a romantic through and through. I have a distinct moment of being in therapy last May when I was talking about him and just this calmness of him being the one I would end up with. Realistically, I know there are so many people out there that I can be compatible with and could potentially be happy with long term, and the idea of the one is mostly mythical. But I am also someone that believes we live in a society surrounded by choices of potential mates and constantly thinking about what is better out there, and at some point you decide to be done looking, so long as you're not settling or giving up needs, and put energy and effort into someone. I guess this is really a long-winded story, and my brief analysis on love leads to this question. What are your thoughts on right person, wrong time? Does timing really play a significant role in which people end up together? Are breakups sometimes necessary to grow and lead to people back together? As you can see, I have some issues disconnecting from outcomes, but deep in my bones and soul, I don't feel like this is the end for us. It's really hard to describe what I'm feeling, but I truly find that it's not the end for us, and I'm seeking guidance from literally any source that I can. Sorry for this long-winded story and question. I find a lot of solace in your podcast and can't wait to continue listening. Thanks for all you do for all of us broken-hearted souls. Hopefully Romantic in Ohio.
Okay, my darling. Thank you so much for writing and trusting us with your heartache. I feel for you. I know exactly where you are in this moment. And I know it's such a time of turmoil and uncertainty and pain and a lot of self-doubt and questioning what you did wrong, but what is the right move next? Like, it's just a hard time to be in. So thank you so much for trusting us with this question. It's such a hard time that I'm sure a lot of people will relate to. And honestly, the question, right person, wrong time, we get a lot. We get monthly, I feel like, right? Because not only is it a story that we've been told in, popular culture, rom-coms and stuff like that, it's something that we say to ourselves that appears true. Even me, right? I'm married to my ex. We didn't speak for 12 years. And I can confidently say to you right now, like, we weren't right for each other then, and we're right for each other now, right? But I have some feelings about right person, wrong time that we will get into, and of course, we'll offer you some love, guidance, and affirmation for your little tender heart. But first, we're going to take a very quick break.
All right, everyone, welcome back. Hopeful Romantic, thank you again for asking us this question. And I just want to say off the bat, breakups suck, right? Like,
Oh my God,
even there.
And out of the blue?
Yeah, for sure.
Are you kidding?
And even when we're trying to be amicable and treat each other well and try and sort of be realistic about what our future relationship is going to look like in terms of like trying to be friends with each other, like I think all things told, like you both are trying to handle this breakup really respectfully, amicably, maturely, which I think is really great. And that doesn't mean that it doesn't suck, right? Like even if there's, no cheating and it's just kind of like we're not in the right place in this moment, right? Like it's still uncomfortable and weird and awkward and painful in so many different ways. So again, I think it just speaks to this idea that like so many of us are maybe thinking about like, how do we break up in a way that's not going to cause pain or discomfort or whatever it might be. And I think that your letter here, Hopeful Romantic, really speaks to the fact that like, we can do it in a way that feels right and respectful and still like come out the other side of it and feel like
aching.
What is happening to me? Right? Like this still sucks, right? In lots of different ways. I still want this person in my life and I can't have them in the way that I want to and like all of that shit. So I just want to like be in it with you in the messy morass of breakups. It's just sticky and uncomfortable and crunchy and all of those like uncomfortable negative words that I can use to describe them.
Yeah. And the idea of right person, wrong time is like pseudo comforting, right? It's like, they are the right person and it's just the wrong time. And that idea, I mean, it makes so much sense to me. And in a way, I believe it because, like I said, I'm married to an ex, but I think that it is a way of looking at relationships in a really like linear and not overly romantic way, but like it's a thought process that we got from the idea that we all have one soulmate out there that will work for us. I think, even if you don't believe that, it's like a cousin of that ideology.
Sure.
And what I want to propose is that like when my wife and I were dating back then, when we were in our early 20s, before we broke up and disconnected for 12 years and then reconnected, it's not that she was the right person, wrong time, although I can objectively say to you, we were not ready to be together, right? But she was just the wrong person. She just, it was like wrong person, right time, right? Because there's no other path. There's no other timeline out there that we need to align. When we break up, it is if they were the right person and right time, it would work, right? And it's not saying, well, it was the right person at the wrong time. It was like, no, they were the wrong person because it was the right time. The right time is now. You are deserving of good, true love now, and they are the wrong person for it right now.
For
in
sure.
this present moment,
Absolutely.
And I think it is also really easy to get lost in the potential when we think about things like right person, wrong time, because it's like, oh, well, they are the right person if things about them and our relationship were different at the exact right time, which to me is saying they're the wrong person. It's right now, but they're the wrong person. It's not fitting, Yep. I know why we think that way. And honestly, like linguistically, I get it too. I can objectively say like, oh, it was the wrong time for my wife and I to be together when we were younger. But it also was the right time because we were, we didn't date then to then date later. Do you know what I mean? Like they were
yeah.
I don't know how I'm trying to just point out that right person, wrong time. It makes us think that the person who is bad to us or like incapable of loving us well, we just have to wait around for them to be better, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or that they don't have any culpability in this. Like, not for nothing. Your relationship was real. Your love is real. The goodness that you felt is real. And also, it sounds like he didn't necessarily treat you the way you deserve to be treated. Mm-hmm. And those two things can exist at the same time. So you know who was the right person in this circumstance? You were. You were the right person. Uh-huh. He was the wrong time, or whatever the fuck we want to make with that line. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that I come to this like from a little bit of a different sort of way, but like the same conclusion, which is like...
Can't wait.
No, is that like our relationships are not separate from the timing and circumstances that they sit in, right? Like it is impossible for us to have a right person, wrong time.
That's it.
Because timing is part of our relationships. It is not,
yes.
It's not incidental, right? It's not like ancillary. It is like the core of it, right? Because if you are in a place where the timing's not right, then that like undermines the whole relationship, everything about it. And we often think about this, right? Like this idea that it's like, but for, like, oh, but for the timing, this relationship would have been perfect. But for the mental health issue that we were going through, but for the fact that my parents hated him, but
just say but for one more time.
Right? It's like this idea of, our relationship would be perfect except for this one thing, but we can't divorce that one thing from the relationship, So we can't divorce the timing from the relationship that you two were in. And so the idea that like it would have been perfect if it had only been the right time is impossible because the time is integrated into the relationship. It could not have existed in a different time. That's not possible. It only existed in the time that it did. And so like, yes, timing is absolutely crucial. And I think it's hard for us to think about that, right? Because we want this idea of destined love. We want this idea that like there's the right person out there for us. And yes, there is for sure, absolutely lots of people out there for us that could be people that we would want to be with. But timing, circumstances, context all inform those choices, right? And
exactly.
And those lead us to be able to, and acknowledging that actually leads us to be open to the idea that there may be other people out there who aren't necessarily the one, but are also like really good for us in the time and circumstances that we're currently in, right? Like we're not holding out for, oh, but there will be a person who's perfect for me. Instead saying like, hey, this person's really great and we live in the same city and we have the same goals, and like that's actually a more sustainable way for us to like find partnership than holding out for this idea that there's going to be the right person that's going to walk into our life at exactly the right time and be absolutely perfect for us. Because that's probably not going to happen in the way that we might think it's going to. And
I just want to say, because like we're hammering this home, like I am a romantic at the end of the day.
For sure.
I love love. I love butterflies. I love the sense of purpose my love and gives me, and I love romance. I love it. I'm a sucker, right? Mm-hmm. And I can say that it's, the people, there were 1,000 circumstances that led me and people I thought I was supposed to be with to not be right for each other. It's not just time, like Sam said. It's time is just one tiny sliver of the bouquet of life circumstances and baggage and compatibility that comes with each partnership or relationship or relationships, you know. I think we find certainty in saying, well, oh, he was really unhealed, or, oh my God, she wasn't over her ex, or they weren't ready to be in a relationship yet, and that's why it didn't work. Yes, we find healing in like clean narratives like that, but it's never that clean. Do you know what I mean?
For sure. It's always
and
more
I also want to
nuanced.
Say, yes. And that's hard when our hearts are hurting. But sometimes it's freeing to think that way. It's more peaceful that way. I also want to say something, because to my fellow romantic, we will always find what we're looking for, even if it's not there. And I don't
That's really real.
I don't mean that in a shitty way, but like you said, I was looking for a sign and he brought flowers, and I love that. I love that he brought you flowers. You deserve that.
Love it.
But when we look for something, we will find it, right? If you look for a reason to wait for this man, you will find it out of the scraps that he's giving you in this friendship post-relationship, right?
Yep.
You will find it because you're looking for it. It will take whatever shape you want it to take, right? Whatever shape he can give you, right? But if you start to look for the ways in which this relationship, as much as you wanted it to work in every fiber of your being, it didn't work. And it you know, let me just paint a picture of the other side. Like, there are people who bring you flowers all the time that want to move in with you, that don't make you work so hard to get scraps of their attention, right? Who don't leave you, who out of the blue, who don't break up with you out of the blue, who are delighted by your company and your companionship, right? And so if you switch the flip from the romantic to the even more romantic, right? Because the even more romantic thought is, I am someone who deserves to be with a romantic, present, giving, compassionate, sexy, generous person. And that person is out there for me, and you're not it. The more romantic thought is to say, I am such a catch. I am such a beautiful, vibrant partner to be with. I bring so much to my life and others. Like, I can't wait to experience the level of love that I deserve, right? And you're not giving it to me. I'm not gonna wait here for you to become something that you just haven't shown me that you are. And if you have shown me, it's in glimpse, and I'm pretending, you know, it's a small screenshot, and I'm pretending it's the whole movie, you know.
For sure.
So what if you said, I'm going to stop looking for reasons to ache for him and wait for him. Instead, I'm going to look for reasons why there is more abundance out there for me. There is more love out there for me that won't make me work so hard. I'm going to look for reasons why the relationship didn't work, right? Let's go back through your letter. You know, it wasn't perfect. He wasn't fully present. He broke up with you out of the blue. You know, that is so confusing and hurtful. Wow, it sounds like you deserve to be with somebody who wants to be with you and is with you in such a joyful way, right? That's romantic.
It is. I think that's much more romantic than this idea of star-crossed lovers, right? And I think, you know, to give you some like tangible advice in this moment, I think that you and this person should spend some more time apart from each other.
Called it. Oh my God. Sam on our 301st episode, right before our 5-year anniversary, tells somebody to block someone and not be friends with your ex.
Yeah. Don't be friends with your ex.
The surprise of the century.
The surprise of the century, right? Like, I know that you have decided that the idea of no contact isn't going to be beneficial for you. And I respectfully disagree.
Definitely will be beneficial. Yep.
Because, right, not because this person isn't great, and not because like it's fun to talk to them and all of these different things, but just because having this person in your life is feeding a narrative that isn't sustainable for you, right?
Yeah.
You're spending a lot of time and energy trying to figure out, is this person ever going to be ready for me? How can I maintain this relationship in a way that I will be there when he's actually ready to date me? And that sort of time, investment, energy is much better spent somewhere else where you're going to get more of it back, right? Because this person, he sounds great. Like, don't get me wrong. And I'm really glad that you two are so close and can talk about this kind of stuff. But like, talking about your relationship, rehashing your breakup, like that kind of stuff isn't actually like a sustainable place. It's kind of like just going through the same cycle over and over and over again. And I want you to break that cycle. I want you to be talking to people who are going to be able to be there for you. I'm going to want you to be talking to people who are ready to be in relationship and not sort of figuring themselves out. And it's not going to happen if you're spending so much time, energy, like pouring yourself into something that's not sustainable with someone who has literally told you that he doesn't want to be with you, right? Like, I want to just like state that explicitly. Like, this man does not want to be in relationship with you. He has told you that. So how can you take that to heart and say, okay, then I want to spend time. I deserve to spend time on people who do want to be in relationship with me, and not maintaining a pseudo friendship that is actually just a secret ruse to trick this person into coming back into my life and being with me, right? You deserve, like Sierra said, to not have to work so hard to convince somebody to want to be in relationship with you, because you're awesome. You're a catch, and you deserve somebody who's ready to be in relationship with you, not sort of like a half-assed sort of like weird friendship where we just talk about how the fact we were dating at one point and then broke up and then are still not dating each other.
Yeah. And we're giving you, we're not even giving you tough love. We're just like talking passionately about the fact that you deserve better, which I know when you're heartbroken and you're feeling tender, it can feel like a lot.
Yep.
Listen, breakups suck and your heart is hurting and your heart is hurting for all the right reasons. And we just want you to take care of yourself and advocate for your healing and your love and your romance. We want you to go to a love that is more sustainable than this one. And it sucks that this one didn't work out. It sucks. It sucks to the core of sucking, right?
For sure.
And we know that you deserve a better love, and there's a better love out there for you right now.
For sure. Absolutely.
All right, my darling. Thank you so much for writing. We hope this helps.
We love you. All right, everyone. It's Friday, which means that we are going to give you our blind date for this week. So this is when we try and set you up with something that we think that you're really going to like. This week, our blind date is...
All right. It's a two-parter. It's a little bit of a phone-in. I just finished the book, the famously popular book, The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Mm-hmm. It's a novel by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and I did enjoy it. It wasn't like mind-blowing, but it was like an easy summer read, something that I'm trying not to like overanalyze. But there were some parts of it that I'm like really eager to discuss with Sam. I don't want to give it away because there's some spoilers in it that are crucial to the plot, but just trust me, right? Like, if you want an easy summer read, just read it. And it also was like, it came out in like 2019. So yet again, I'm famously late for very popular things, but like, read it. Read it.
That could be good.
Basically, I told Sam, like, read it just so we can talk about it. That's like my endorsement of it. You know what I mean?
For sure.
But my actual blind date, I know I've been talking about this in the past, but I promise it'll be over in a couple weeks. Hey, y'all, I've got a live show coming up for my new poetry book, Ephemera. And why this is particularly cool, why I'm hammering home this event, is because it's not only in-person tickets in Saratoga, New York at Cafe Lena. There's also virtual tickets for only $8. And their sound and video setup is super pristine. So it's going to be a great opportunity to see me read my poetry live. And you get access to that recording or that live stream for up to a week afterwards. So if you can't see it live because of the time difference or whatever, you can read me, watch it live. And 100% of those proceeds go to me, the artist. So it's like, I'm just being transparent about that like, this is a great way to support me and my poetry career. And the tickets are only $8.
That's so cool.
It is very cool of the venue. That's why I wanted to share that. Like the venue, if you're in the area, if you're in the Northeast area in New York or Massachusetts or whatever, it's Cafe Lena in Saratoga. Cafe Lena is a historic folk music venue. Like Bob Dylan has played there. A bunch of like really well-known names have performed there. And they're traditionally a music venue. So they've got awesome acoustics. And I'm gonna do my set reading from my new book Ephemera. And my mother-in-law, who is a performing folk musician for her entire life, is going to open for me. So she's going to do a little folk music, intro. So check that out. It's on July 27th. You can get tickets at my website, which is my name, sierrademulder.com, or on my social media, etc. But yeah, so read The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo so I can talk about it with you, and get your virtual or in-person tickets for my last show of the summer with my new book, Ephemera. It's happening on July 27th at 7 p.m. in Saratoga, or wherever you're watching, and you can get tickets at my website, sierrademulder.com.
All right, everyone, thank you so much for listening. If you are interested in more content from us, or if you're interested in getting our episodes without ads, you can support us on Patreon. If you support us on Patreon for as little as $5 a month, you'll get an additional bonus weekly episode. That's patreon.com/justbreakuppod.
You can slide into my DMs, send us your favorite, my DMs or our DMs. You can slide into our DMs, send us your favorite relationship memes, but most importantly, you can submit your questions about all matters of the heart at justbreakuppod.com, which is also where you can get our merchandise.
Please remember to like, follow, subscribe, give us a 5-star rating and review. This literally keeps our mics on and helps us reach more brokenhearted souls who need two random strangers giving them relationship advice.
Just Break Up is a production of Duvid Media, original music, recording, editing, producing, all magical things by our good friend Spencer Worth Davis. Make sure to check out his podcasts and his music. And remember, relationships do take work. There is so many circumstances that result in a long-lasting relationship, and time is just one of them. And when we say there is a love out there that won't make you work so hard, we're not saying relationships don't take work or emotional labor, but we're saying sometimes you don't have to fight so hard for something to work when there are other things out there that would be more joyful, more nutritious, more beneficial, more generous to your life than what you're fighting for right now. And if all else fails,
just break up.